His Excellency the President, and His Majesty the King. After bilateral talks, we will now witness the signing of MOUs and letters of intent. I request that we take our seats, please. And the first MOU to be signed is the establishment of a joint trade committee. And this will be signed, and I'll request that the following take their positions for signatures. His Excellency, the Prime Cabinet Secretary, Musalia Mudavadi, to kindly proceed to take his seat. And also His Excellency Glynet Cleaver, Minister for Foreign Trade and Development, Kingdom of Netherlands. We may now present the MOUs. The purpose of this MOU is to set up a framework for the dialogue on cooperation on trade and investment between Kenya and the Netherlands. The Joint Trade Committee is aimed at facilitating and fostering bilateral trade and investment between Kenya and the Netherlands. It is proposed to be chaired by the Cabinet Secretary of Ministry of Investment, Trade and Industry of Kenya and the Foreign Minister of Trade and Development Aid of the Netherlands. After appending the signatures, we'll then have a photo opportunity. We'll request that you may step forward and shake hands. Thank you. You may take your seats. And the next is Terms of Reference Agriculture Working Group. And I'll request the following to step forward. The CS Agriculture, Honorable Mutahi Kagwe, to take his seat. And Mr. Hido Lanz here, Deputy Director General, Agriculture International, to kindly take your seats for the signature. We may now present the documents, please. The purpose of this MOU is to renew the framework for cooperation and partnership between the Ministry of Agriculture, Fisheries, Food Security and Nature of the Kingdom of Netherlands and the Ministry of Agriculture and Livestock Development of the Republic of Kenya for enhancement of agriculture in both countries' priority areas. Thank you. Thank you. You may proceed to take your seats. The next MOU is between Kenya and the Netherlands to enhance tourism between the countries. I'll now request that we have the CS Tourism, Ms. Rebecca Miano, together with His Excellency Glynet Cleaver, Minister for Foreign Trade and Development, to kindly take their positions for the signing of the MOU. We may present the documents for signing. This MOU aims to foster collaboration on tourism, particularly having more Dutch tourists visit Kenya and enhance Dutch investment in the tourism sector in Kenya. The next is a letter of intent, Invest International on water infrastructure projects. I'll now kindly request the following to take their positions. The CS Water Engineer Eric Mugar, together with Mr. Hans Doctor, CEO Invest International. First letter of intent, we may proceed to bring the document. This letter of intent signs off proposed 1.5 million euros for the development of phase of the Naivasha SEZ water supply and sanitation project by the Dutch consortium of Rebel Group and Royal Hasconsin DHV. We have a second letter of intent for, this was for Naivasha. So we have a second, which will be signed by the same gentleman to sign a different letter of intent. If we may kindly take your seats. Yes. You proceed to present the documents for signature. This letter of intent signs off a proposed 1.5 million euros for the development of the phase of the Sabaki bulk water supply project in the coastal counties by the Dutch consortium of Climate Fund Managers and Utility Partners Limited. We will now proceed to have the joint press communique from His Excellency the President, together with His Majesty the King. We'll also have Her Excellency the First Lady and Her Majesty the Queen also join in this joint press communique after the bilateral talks and the signing of MOUs and letters of intent.
Your Majesties, distinguished members of the press, ladies and gentlemen. It is my honor and privilege to welcome their Majesties, King Willem Alexander and Queen Maxima of Netherlands to Kenya for this historic state visit, their first ever, and thank them most heartily for accepting my invitation. Kenya deeply values its strong and enduring partnership with the Netherlands, one of our most significant trading partners in Europe, a steadfast development ally, and a key collaborator in our economic transformation. The Netherlands' global leadership in sustainable agriculture, water management, and renewable energies align seamlessly with Kenya's Vision 2030. This visit provides an invaluable opportunity to strengthen existing collaborations, explore new frontiers, and accelerate mutual investment for shared prosperity. Our nations share a strategic partnership dating back to 1964. Over the decades, this relationship has evolved, driven by mutual respect, common aspirations, and a shared vision for a greener, more sustainable, and prosperous future. We held discussions to deepen cooperation in agriculture, trade, tourism, climate action, and regional security. We have agreed to enhance people-to-people connections, focusing on education, tourism, and women's empowerment, while aligning our collaboration with global sustainable development goals and Kenya's national priorities. As part of our commitment to deepening this cooperation, we have today signed 3 critical memoranda of understanding and a letter of intent that will translate our discussions into tangible action. We have signed an MOU that establishes a framework for dialogue on trade and investment between Kenya and the Netherlands, creating a joint trade committee to facilitate and foster bilateral trade and investment. This will ensure a more structured, dynamic engagement between our business communities, unlocking new opportunities in key sectors and leveraging on the partnership and the friendship that already exist between the business communities of our 2 countries. We have also signed an MOU renewing our framework for cooperation in agriculture, reinforcing the partnership between Kenya and the Netherlands in agricultural productivity and sustainability. This agreement focuses on priority areas that will enhance food security, technological exchange, and market access. We're building on the already existing framework that was signed last year between Kenya and the EU, and that was ratified both by the EU and the Kenya Parliament. And I have explained to their majesties that it is our intention as Kenya to bring on board the rest of the East African communities as we build a bigger market and bring on board more people. Additionally, we have signed an MOU to strengthen collaboration in tourism sector, aiming to increase the number of Dutch tourists visiting Kenya and enhance Dutch investments in our tourism industry, an area with immense potential for job creation and economic growth. I just, His Majesty mentioned to me that maybe it is time also for Kenya to send some tourists to Netherlands. And just to explain to you, Your Majesty, our tourist numbers grew from 2 million to 2.4 million last year. And as I have said in my statement, there is opportunity for investments in our tourism infrastructure. And therefore, I hope that there will be conversations between the tourism sector in Kenya and those who want to invest in our tourist facilities around our country. Additionally, we have signed an MOU to strengthen collaboration in other areas. And further to these agreements, we have signed a letter of intent that marks a significant step in addressing critical water infrastructure needs in Kenya. This includes an investment for the development phase of the Naivasha Special Economic Zone water supply and sanitation project. I did explain to His Majesty that the government of Kenya has expanded the space and land available for Naivasha Special Economic Zone from 1,000 acres to 6,000 acres. And that gives greater space and opportunity for the development of that special economic zone. And we are grateful that you're partnering with us on the water and sanitation project for that special economic zone, as well as another investment in the Sabaki bulk water supply in the coastal county of Kilifi, backed by Dutch partners. These projects will enhance access to clean and reliable water, a fundamental pillar for sustainable development and economic progress. Our discussions also focused on deepening cooperation in climate action, regional security, and people-to-people connections, particularly in education, tourism, and women's empowerment, ensuring that our collaboration aligns with global sustainable development goals and Kenya's national priorities. Their Majesties and I also debriefed on the peace and security challenges around the world and urged for strengthening of collective action and pacific settlement of disputes based on respect of the UN Charter. At the time of fraying partnerships, I urge their Majesties to maintain Netherlands' commitment to the principles of global solidarity and subsidiarity. In particular, I implore their Majesties to extend support to the 8th replenishment of the UN Global Fund as it seeks to mobilize resources to battle difficult global health challenges. To further consolidate our partnership, we have directed our ministers of foreign affairs to convene bilateral political consultations tomorrow to define their clear pathways for cooperation in regional peace and security, climate change, multilateral engagement, and strategic development partnerships. These discussions will provide a structured framework for tackling global challenges together and strengthening our diplomatic ties. Beyond policy discussions, I am pleased that Your Majesties will have the opportunity to witness Kenya's socioeconomic progress and cultural diversity. A key highlight will be the visit to the Naivasha Inland Container Depot, where we will launch a direct cold chain corridor from Kenya to Rotterdam, a transformative initiative that will revolutionize the transport of perishable goods, reduce transit time, preserve product quality, and create jobs. I also appreciate Your Majesty's participation in a tree planting event that will take place at Togodo Forest, a powerful symbol of our shared commitment to environmental sustainability and Kenya's ambitious goal of planting and growing 15 billion trees by 2032. Additionally, your engagements with the youth and the Supreme Court and the business community will further solidify our mutual understanding and cooperation. The Kenya-Dutch Business Forum will provide a platform for their Majesties to engage with young Kenyan entrepreneurs, innovators, and investors, fostering enterprise, creativity, and economic collaboration. A particularly significant development is the entry of Invest Africa, a Dutch financial investment entity, into the Kenyan market, which will provide much needed capital to Kenya's private sector and expand financial access for businesses looking to scale in the East African market. I'm confident that these engagements will provide Your Majesties with valuable insights into Kenya's progress and opportunities for further collaboration. As we embark on the next phase of Kenya-Netherlands relations, we reaffirm our commitment to strengthening our bilateral ties. This engagement will deepen diplomatic relations, expand economic opportunities, and foster sustainable partnerships. Once again, I extend my very warm welcome to their Majesties and wish them a fruitful, insightful, and memorable stay in Kenya. Now it is my honor to invite His Majesty King William Alexander to deliver his remarks. Your Majesty.
Thank you very much. Mr. President, ladies and gentlemen, as we begin our 3-day state visit to Kenya, I would like to thank you, Mr. President, for your kind invitation. Our visit reflects the strong and equal relationship that has developed between our countries across a broad range of areas. We work together successfully in many different fields. As trading partners, as partners for security and stability, as investors in sustainable development, as problem solvers in the food and water sectors, and not least, as like-minded countries in the United Nations. This is illustrated by the operational sphere of our embassy in Nairobi, our largest mission in Africa, whose activities extend across the entire region. Our diplomatic ties go back more than 60 years, and Kenya's extraordinary development over those decades has been highly impressive. Kenya is a self-assured nation that is proud of its economic performance, its democracy and institutions, and its constructive and impactful international role. We attach great value to our cooperation with Kenya. This visit shows just how closely our interests are aligned and how strong our ties have become. And not just our governments, but also our businesses, our NGOs, and the many private partners in Kenya and the Netherlands who have teamed up on joint initiatives. We believe in the future of Kenya, a future that will be determined by the Kenyan people. With a population whose average age is 20, your country is fortunate that it can rely on the ideas and energies of millions of young citizens. The people of Kenya, like those of the Netherlands, want their rights as free citizens to be respected and their voices to be heard. I'm pleased that our country's strong and mature relationship allows us to devote attention during this visit to issues like human rights, good governance, and accountability. We're grateful to have the opportunity to discuss the concerns that exist in these areas. Later this morning, at the ambassador's residence, we will be meeting young Kenyans to hear their views on recent developments. What opportunities do they see to build a bright future for the country they love? A future in which everyone can participate on an equal footing. Legal certainty has a fundamental role to play in this respect, and is also essential for Kenya's economic development. Our visit reflects the full breadth of our partnership and the dialogue between us. We're very much looking forward to the coming days. And this will be a wonderful opportunity, Mr. President, to meet Kenyans from many different backgrounds and to foster even closer ties between our two countries. Mr. President, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for your attention and thank you very much for your hospitality.
Thank you very much.
And that brings us to the end of this joint press communique. Thank you, Your Excellencies and Your Majesties.
You are watching Sound Candy Talk live. Sound Candy Talk Live News.